joining us again this morning from Mona Shores High School. We have Riker Torcott, who will be performing Fantasia for alto saxophone by Smith.
This is not a bad thing. I'm very familiar with this piece. I've actually done this piece a few times, so I know it. The thing that's mind-boggling is that I was well into my career, many years. This is the type of piece that you don't tackle in high school. There's a couple things. The demands of the technique in here are phenomenal. Alternate fingering, because you got to do a lot of that stuff in the upper register. And even tackling the altissimo, which I was very impressed with. I mean, that's not something I typically have heard a high school be able to do. Some notes, you know, they can do it, but not, I mean, you did that whole section, all altissimo. Now, along with that comes the challenges that, you know, when you are a trained and developed musician, to understand all the stuff that goes along with it, is that you have to be prepared for the, you know, the effects that it's going to have sometimes when you are playing. Intonation is always a challenge. You did pretty well on the altissimo, pretty well. There were a couple notes here and there, but I mean, come on. How many people, it's not like everybody's doing them. I mean, you're tackling, it would be different if you were tackling them and you were destroying them and you couldn't do them and they were all out of tune. That would be a totally, but that's not the case. So that's always something you want to be thinking about. You know where there's a couple tough spots in here to be able to get them right spot on. And honestly, sometimes it depends on the day. It's like an athlete. There's going to be on days and there's going to be off days. There's going to be days that you probably, it was perfect. The pitch was right ready to be. But then you're going to have those days that's just not quite. And so it kind of just have the awareness. I mean, it's not something I'm going to tell you to do or not to do. Have an awareness that you know that those things exist, And if you're thinking about those things when you're playing and performing, you're gonna address those things when you do hear them. Or if you hear somebody else is telling you, like me, that you wanna be aware of those kind of things. Only one other little tiny suggestion I would make, and take this with a grain of salt. It has nothing to do with your performance today. I think, in my opinion, as a judge and as a fellow saxophonist, on the vivo section when you play it, I mean, 90% of this is the vivo. I think if you were to relax the tempo just a hair, just a little bit, I think the clarity of your articulation will be better. You're playing it, and it's there. Sometimes I don't always feel the clarity is as clean as you're making it. I mean, you're playing it, you're not handling it, but because the technical demands are there and you're playing the tempo at that right tempo, and it's not like you're falling apart, you are handling it. Sometimes the clarity of the articulation is not as clean as I think it could be. Take that with a grain of salt. I'm not telling you to slow it down because you're handling it. That's my opinion. If as a listener and as another saxophonist hearing the piece and being familiar with it, if it were slightly less, and when I mean slightly less, take the metronome and just go tick tick, a couple notches. It just relaxes it, that the articulation in there may sound a little bit cleaner. And again, this is my ears. I mean, ask your band director, ask your private teacher. I mean, they might say, heck with that, no, keep it. It's an opinion, okay? And I've heard it done many, many times, so, not by high school students, but I have heard it before. But I think you're doing so many things so well, Riker. You have, all the things are there. I absolutely love what you did in the lento section. What a gorgeous sound, good control, good use of vibrato, good use of phrasing, good use of shaping, just, musical. And that's what it's about. You're conveying emotion. And you're doing it so well. So stay on track with what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing. You're a good musician, so just have that will and that know-how that you know that there's things you always can do. Like I mentioned earlier, don't ever be 100%, because if you're 100%, you'll never get any better. If you're 98%, 99% today, I nailed it and I just played it. But if I do this, and if you do that, you'll always strive to get better, and that's really what you want to do. So I am sure that they will be very, very impressed at the state level doing this. So keep doing what you're doing, and I very much enjoyed your performance today. Thank you.